Welcome back, writers, to One Story House with me, Lorraine Moselle. Thank you for coming for another visit. I love having company. So today, I'm talking about beta readers and critique partners because one of my viewers wanted to hear about it. So thank you, Randy. Thank you for the question. I personally, I have had a hard time with some of these. It's probably why you had the question too. So alpha readers, we'll start with that one first. And actually, before I get started, let me just say that if I move my head, you get blinded by the lights. Good old pot lights. I'm looking in the wrong direction again. Good old pot lights. So, also, Southern Gothic. We've got this silhouette going on. I could just sketch it out right now, but I have other things to do. Alpha readers. Alpha readers are the readers that you can employ. And I say employ, maybe they're for free, but that you can get to review your work in its raw state. That's not for me. Now, a lot of people may want to use them because they want to catch things before they get, before you get going too far and you realize, uh-oh, I need to overhaul this. The alpha readers are there to help you see whether your plot's going off track and that sort of thing. I can't do that. I have to make sure things are more polished than that. I can't give somebody something that I feel will reflect badly on me, poor sentence structure, typos, whatever it happens to be. And goodness knows I cannot stand a typo. So I have plenty of them, but nonetheless, I don't want anyone to see. So I don't do alpha readers. Nah. So that leaves me with the other two. Beta readers. When I first started out with that one, no, not that one, the other one. Longing for the Blue Heron was my first one. When I started with that one, I had two beta readers. And where I found them was just in my small circle of people that I knew. I basically threw out a little net and said, anybody like to read? And are you willing to read my book? So I had a couple of bites for that. Now, that wasn't the best for me. I feel like because they knew me, and they weren't family members, because I'll get into that in a minute, and they weren't necessarily close friends, but they were friends and friendly acquaintances and the like. So they gave me semi-honest feedback. That's how I look at it, because I don't think they wanted to step on my toes, and I tried to ask very pointed questions to kind of weed through that and make them give me more honest answers. But in the long run, I think that was only semi-beneficial. The best beta reader that I had for the first book and the second book was my oldest son. He is like a beta reader, a critique partner, and an editor all rolled into one. So if he ever taps out on me, I'm in trouble, because he's my best one, hands down. So he is amazing. Now, that being said, so he looked at the first one, he went over the second one as well. By the second book, I still had him on board, and then I got another person who is a very avid reader in the genre, or at least kind of a subset. She really likes suspense and mysteries, and so my second book fell more into that category, and so she was the perfect person, and she really made notes to herself and for me and everything. It was great. Wonderful, which is a wonderful person. But as far as going out and looking for a beta reader, some of the services that they have that I've heard about, I'm not really comfortable with a total stranger reading my material and giving me feedback, unless I know for certain that they're reading in a genre, that my genre is something they read in a lot. That's the mistake I made with the first two beta readers. I just said, hey, does anybody read? somebody, anybody help me. That didn't work so great. But the second go around, it worked out great. I had my son, I had this beta reader who is awesome, and she's excited to read my next one and said, read whatever you throw at me, go for it. So that's exciting. And then I had an unusual beta reader that is not alive. It is AI. And let me explain. I have Pro Writing Aid as my writing app. And every year or so, it seems like they have come out, well, at least the recent history, have come out with something new. So they have a manuscript analysis. Now they have a beta reader analysis that they do through AI. And they write it as if it's from a real living human being that's a beta reader. So it's amazing, absolutely amazing. Now it's if you already have a plan with Pro Writing Aid, which I do, a premium plan, it's discounted. The rate is discounted. So for basically $25, I'm able to have AI pour through my whole book within 10 minutes and give me all kinds of breakdowns. Is the symbolism good? Is this good? Is that good? Does the plot make sense? I mean, all of these things. Even is the inciting incident something that hooked in the reader? It's really great. So I would definitely recommend that. And I got to use it again and again. You can't do that with a human beta reader. I would run it through, make my corrections if I agreed with this AI, and then I would throw it through there again. Did I hit the mark this time? What does it say? Did it change? Did it get worse? So all these different things that you can't tell a human beta reader, will you please, pretty please read this book again? So I thought that was great. So that's what I do for my beta readers. Now, as far as critique partners, I do not have true critique partners, except for, like I said, my son. Now, I looked on the internet, I wouldn't say exhaustively, but I looked on the internet trying to find critique partners. I'm not a big one to go jumping into these writing forums. I think, from what I understand, from what I've seen, a lot of them are, I wouldn't say beginning writers. That doesn't even sound right. But they aren't, they were asking questions sometimes that I think were a little too simplistic at that point. Now, everybody goes through that. I understand that, but that's not what I needed. And so I didn't totally, maybe I'm just on the wrong website and so forth. I'm sure there's somebody out there that's more like-minded in my genre. And again, the more you narrow it down, your genre, your style, and all of these things, it gets more and more difficult to find a critique partner that you can exchange work with. And so I didn't go that route. Though I'm sure a lot of people do so with success, and more power to them. But I'm not comfortable with that. And having to read someone else's work and critique something that, my fear is, what if I'm putting this time in and I don't like their work, and then I have to be negative in some way, and I don't really want to be negative. I don't know. It just, something more anonymous sounds better to me, and I'm sure those are out there too, where you have someone review your things, that you review theirs, but you don't know who's who. That might be a little better. But anyway, enough of that. I hope that answers your question, Randy, at least what I do. I wish I had some answers for you, what works best for most people. I don't know. But this is what I do. And with my next book that I'm writing right now, Chuck Will's Widow, my son will not be able to participate with that, unfortunately, and be my editor / critique partner / beta reader. So he has too many other things on his plate right now. So it's just me and my beta reader. And as far as editing goes, between my son and I, now he won't be able to, but it's mainly me. Pro Writing Aid is great at editing. And now that they have these, the manuscript analysis and so forth, and they have check it out sometime. It has everything under the sun. But that's what I'll have to depend on. And most of the things that he caught anyway, thankfully, were not huge structural errors and things like that. I tend to have too many poetic, not purple prose, mind you, but I get a little too poetic because I'm a poet at heart, and that kind of overflows sometimes. So that has to be tweaked. And sometimes I don't see it clearly because that's the mode I'm in at the moment, and it just keeps coming out and feels natural at the time. But one thing I do suggest doing is when you finish, and I'm sure a lot of you've heard this from many sources already, but when I finish, I try to give it a little breathing room. I put it aside. Sometimes I don't get past 2 weeks. I'm too impatient to go the month and plus like they say do. But I give it a couple of weeks before I come back and I read it. And one time, I think the last one, I didn't make it past about a week and a half before I wanted to jump in, but I didn't. So it's like a two week mark basically, and read it again. It gives you fresher eyes to catch the mistakes more as like a true reader would, and you get to see it from their perspective more instead of being caught up in your own head so much about being so attached to it, being so connected to it. You need to give it a little space, a little breathing room. Yes. So anyway, I hope that answered your question about what I do. I wish I could be more helpful with that, but I have limited resources here in a sense of my scope of how many people I know and who I can ask what to help me do this and that is relatively small, and I don't like depending on strangers especially paying strangers that I don't know their track record, don't know anything about them. I don't want to throw money to the wind. So anyway, thank you for that question. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to like and subscribe, please. I need that. I'm trying to build this channel. I'm trying to make more content. Sorry, Thanksgiving week really threw me off, but I need that algorithm. YouTube is just hard to figure out, and they're saying, I need all those likes, and subscribe. So yes, I'm greedy. Hey, I want more friendly faces, more going on with my channel, so I can just keep on keeping on and not be discouraged. So yes, and please don't be discouraged this week either. We're going into a new year. It's exciting. I really am excited for what's going to happen in 2026. I hope that you have an amazing 2026 also. And hopefully I can post one more video this week. So be looking for it, please. And until the next time I see you, I hope you have a day that's blessed beyond the ordinary. All right, take care. Bye-bye.